What's going on, everybody? It's your boy E-Man the Chosen here, and I'm back today with another video. So today we're going to be bringing you the long-awaited update to my Bonksorc build, which is a D-Swing Stamsorc build, and man, this is one of the strongest builds that I've ever used. Now that we have finally added Scribing to our already busted Bonksorc build, this is really just taking this build over the top. Again, this is not a beginner-friendly build. This build does take a lot of experience to get good at, but once you do get the hang of this build, it is one of the strongest builds out there for Stamsorc. So getting to our stat sheet, these are our stats on the front bar. We do have 10 points in the health, 54 into stam. These are our stats on the back bar. Again, this is completely unbuffed. And now I'm going to show you guys what my stats are when I do have my buffs up. So let me pop these real quick. Pop Hurricane, Rally, and the banner. These stats also go up while we're in combat when some of our sets proc, because we're not fully procced, and these are my stats on the back bar. Now, as far as the Mundus we're using, we've actually been using the tower this patch, and we're also using stage 4 this patch, and I'll get into why we're using stage 4. Alright, so now we're going to get into the slottable items. I'm going to show you guys what food I'm running. So the food I'm running is the Blue Sugar Skulls. I feel like this is one of the best foods for Stamsorc. It's a max stat food. We're kind of building to a lot of max stats on this build because this is kind of like where we get our sustain from, because we don't have any recovery. So it's better to just have max stats. And then I do use the reduced stage or increased stage food. I keep that on me as well. As far as the pots that we use the regular tri-stat pots. They give you mag, stam, and health. And then another necessity of pots that you need in combat is the stealth attack pot. My favorite, the stealth attack pots to use are the ones that give you CC immunity as well. Those are really nice. So alright, getting to the sets, we are using the perfected Battleshrine Maul on the front bar. We're using sharpened with a berserker weapon damage enchant. I found sharpened to be the best trade for that. And then we're using defending ice staff of Essence Thief with a restore stand physical damage enchant on the back bar. And yeah, and then on the body we're using Pariah. Pariah's been a goated set on Stamsorc for a long time, especially if you're not using the shields. We are using one piece magma for the extra bit of recovery. We are in 4 medium, 3 heavy. We're in all prismatic enchants. We're using 6 impin, 1 reinforced on the chest. We do have Pariah jewelry, all infused weapon spell damage, and we are using Death to the Feet for our mythic. I feel like this is the best setup for me, playstyle. Pariah's been a go-to set. Stamsorc's main problem is that it's squishy, so putting a defensive set on Stamsorc is almost a necessity because we already have great damage and we have great sustain. And with Essence Thief, you don't really need a sustain set. But if you don't have Essence Thief or you don't like the playstyle of Essence Thief, you could put Rallying Crowd on the back bar, you could put Clever Alchemist on the back bar, or even Wretched on the back bar works as well. But I don't think they're as good as SSD. And then also with the Battleshrine Maul, especially the perfected one, you get a line of max stam. It really helps our healing because you get basically 300 weapon and spell damage, before the proc, and then with the max stamina and us running the tower, we get lots of max stamina. It's almost like we're wearing like Hawk and Jogger, and we have almost like a 40k stam pool when we're fully procced, and that's going to give us our sustain for the most part, for the people who wonder how I sustain with this low recovery. Alright, so now we're going to get into the skills that we're rocking. So on the front bar we do have Hurricane. Hurricane is going to give us a nice AoE damage dot, and then it's going to give us our Minor Expedition, which is our speed, and it's going to give us our Major Resolve. Then we have our Executioner. This is our execute. I would only use this when the enemy gets around 25% health. One of the strongest executes in the game. Sometimes it can actually desync people if you actually use it beforehand. Then we have Rally. This is going to be your burst heal, also your major brutality and sorcery buff. Also gives you a nice passive stam recovery boost with minor endurance. Then we have D-Swing. This is your spammable. Sets the enemy off balance, which allows you to medium attack, stun them, and then also do extra damage to them. Then we are using the banner. This is our scribe skill. So we're using the shock damage script with the Cavalier's Charge, which gives me up to 450 weapon and spell damage based on my movement speed. And then we have Minor Courage in the last slot. One of the funnest skills I've used on Stamsorc. Super strong. I mean, it is a flex bot, but it's very strong. Then we are using Berserker Rage, aka the Bunk ult. So this is the 2H morph, actually also known as the underrated morph. This is the one that's going to give you the armor, the CC immunity for 8 seconds, and it also just hits really hard. Back bar, we are using Temporal Guard, only really slotted for the minor protection, but you can also use the ulti in an oh shit situation when, you know, if you're about to get killed, you can recall. We have Dark Deal. This is another burst heal that we use. It's going to give us our sustain, it's going to give us our stam through our mag. Also gives you a nice little stam return over 10 seconds. Also procs Minor Berserk and Minor Force for you. We are using Flare back bar. Only have this slotted for the support passive, which gives you 10% mag recovery and also the major protection. Very strong. I don't really think that you can take this off. Otherwise you'll just be a lot squishier. You have Resolving Vigor, best heal over time in the game. Must need, also gives you minor resolve. Using Ball of Lightning, one of the best, you know, get out of jail abilities in the game. You know, basically streak short distance, you get a stare removal and also absorbs a projectile. Then we have Elisus. This is our major breach, and it also procs status effects, very strong status effects such as burning, chilled, and concussion all at once. It's also free, very loaded skill. Now with the banner does nerf recovery by like 33%, but the way we get around that is by only having it on one bar. And so pretty much when you know switch bars, it automatically turns it off and you have to reactivate it. So it may not seem like it looks like it's worth it, but it definitely is. Look at what it does to the tooltips on some of my skills. Like I'm at a 14k D-swing and at an 18k bunk without like fully procced. Like once I get my sets fully procced, I have Baddest Shrimp fully procced. Like my bunk goes well over like 22k. D-swing goes up to like 16-17k. It's crazy pressure, but the only thing about it is that you have to like keep switching it on and off. If you don't like that playstyle, you can swap bound ornaments right there in that skill slot. I do think bound ornament is better than having frags right there in that slot, but if you like the frag playstyle, you can put frags right there. You can also put curse right there, but in order, it goes from least best to best. I think it goes from curse to frag, and then to bound ornaments being the best right there, especially on a D-swing build, stuff like that. But you know, I don't know for sure if the banner is the best skill to have in the slot. Like, you know, bound ornaments could still just be just as better because you don't have to keep, you know, turning on and off, especially if you're like in a fight where you have to keep swapping bars to heal and stuff like that. But I do like the play style of banner, and it's just like a free 500 weapon damage. Like when you turn it on, it doesn't cost anything to turn it on, it just nerfs your recovery, stuff like that. So make sure you pick up all your passives. One of the most important passives is this passive right here, which is the Expert Summoner. Basically you get 10% max stat pool when you have this passive, and you know, this is what gives us our sustains by having that max stat pool. This is why I'm building it to max stats, because the sorcerer does, like, you know, benefit off of having good, you know, pools, stuff like that. So, you know, and then when I'm fully procced, I do get up to around 40k stam, and you know, I have a pretty solid mag pool, pretty solid health pool. I get up to about 32k health, and that's more than enough health in my opinion. So, and then a few other passives. Make sure you get all your two-handed passives, get all your destruction stat passives. I do also use the Tri-Focus passive. I do think it's really strong on this build because we have such a high pull, and you know, we can block with our mag, restore stam while we're blocking, and then vice versa. Let's say we want to restore mag, we can block on our front bar. but it's better to block with your back bar, especially when you're really good at the game. You start tap blocking instead of holding block, and tap blocking will take your gameplay to another level. We don't run any light armor. We use medium armor and heavy armor, so pick up most of the passives there. You're a vampire, make sure you pick up your passives, and then for the support, make sure you pick up your Magicka 8 passive, increase your mag recovery by 10% for having support ability slotted. So now that we have one slotted on both bars, which banner being a support ability, you get the passives. And then we are an orc for this. I do think orc is the best race for Stamsorc, and also for the banner that we use, because we get the max movement speed, which one of our banner skills is procced off of our movement speed. So that's why orc is just so good on this build and just makes us hit really hard. Another passive to make sure you go ahead and have is the medicinal use. Gives you 30% more passes from your potions, stuff like that. So extra recovery. Let's say you did a stealth attack pod, it lasts longer, stuff like that. Getting into the CP, so since Pariah is such a strong defensive set, it kind of allows us to have the CP allocation to push for more damage. So I'm actually using 3 damage CP and 1 defensive. The only defensive CP you need with Pariah, in my opinion, is resilience, but also too, sometimes you may need a little bit more than resilience depending on what you're dealing with. Like sometimes if you're dealing with DKs, you need duelist rebuff or cleansing revival. And then if you're dealing with gankers, you may need ironclad, duelist rebuff, and resilience. So it just depends on what you're dealing with. And also too, big thing to take away from this is there's no one CP allocation that's best for every situation. If you go with too many damage CP, you may be lacking in defense, and then if you go with too much defensive CP, you may be lacking in offense. So you just have to choose what you feel is a healthy balance. Red tree, we do use celerity. That's important for our capitalist charge. We use survival instincts, paint refugee, and fortified. The only flex spot with this CP, I would say, would be fortified. You could put points into sustain by suffering if you need more sustain, you're struggling with sustain. And if you're fighting a lot of max orcs, you need this passive right here for the extra damage versus shield. So at the end of the day, man, like when it comes to CP, there's no one best CP allocation for every single situation. A lot of times I change CP a lot depending on what I'm fighting a lot of. So in the green tree, for those sweats who want to know, see some rationer, liquid efficiency, gifted rider, and then Steve's blessing for the movement speed. This actually does affect your speed or your damage, like when you're not in combat. So like, let's say you open up on somebody, you get extra damage on somebody with the Steve's blessing and the cavalier's charge, which is kind of nice. So all right, so now we'll talk a little bit more about the rotations and also why I use stage 4 vampire. So stage 4 vampire is nice for reducing your damage, of course, taken. You only need stage 3 for that. And then also I like this speed, this passive right here. It's really nice for solo play because you go invisible and basically you can run for free. So like if I'm running around, let's say I'm running around kiting through Zergs, I'm out of stamina or whatever, you start dark dealing, and you passively get stamina back from dark deal. So like literally when I'm running, if you look at my stam bar is actually going up while I'm running, kiting away from a Zerg, which is really, really nice. All right, so getting into a little bit about the rotation, always start on your back bar, proc a SSD from range, proc your breach, and then hit the ads. Man, this build actually hits extremely hard. Some of these ads don't even have enough health for me to showcase a lot of the damage, but I will leave gameplay at the end so you guys can see the build more in action. But man, look at the damage. Yeah, just keep proccing your light attacks, and then your LD sus, which is your major breach. I got a banner boss on me right now, but I'm the real banner around here. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, just proc your SSD from the back bar. Make sure you light attack in between every skill. Light attack banner, light attack D-swing, and rinse and repeat. The physical damage stamina chain is really, really nice. Helps you get stam back as well. Helps you sustain. Also procs minor breach. And see, look at that. With the stage 4, you can get in and out of every fight. Like let's say you shriek 2-3 times, you can pretty much get in and out of every fight, on top of already having this amount of defense. stuff like that. So last thing I want to show you guys is what I have exactly scribed on my banner and some other options. So here's a pretty cool thing you can do with some of the scribing right now. So if you actually go to your skills and you go to scribing, yeah, you go to skills here, you're gonna scroll all the way up to scribing, and then you can go to the skill. Of course you have to unlock the skill first, but if you go to the skill, you can look at all the possible scripts you can put on there. So the banner actually has some really cool scripts you can put on there. You can have some damage reduction, you can do, you know, AoE damage, you can have CC immunity. Cavalier's Charge, my opinion, is the best one for Stamsorc, but you could use the class mastery, which gives you 2k shock damage every few seconds. The heal one is pretty nice too for staying offensive. You can reduce your sprint cost, remove snares, negative effects. Really nice. You can have a small little shield. You already get Minor Berserk through Dark Deal. You don't need Minor Berserk, but the Savagery and Prophecy is really nice. You can even do Heroism. Intellect and Endurance is nice. Protection, you don't need Minor Protection because you kind of already get that with the Sigic on the back bar, but you know, some pretty cool scripts you can put on, you can play around with. I'm still currently playing around with them, and I really do like the banner skill. Kind of adds some, you know, just some new flavor to the Stamsorc and what you can do. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for the build video. If you guys have any specific questions, you can leave it in the comments. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, as that really helps me out. But now we're gonna get to some gameplay. All right, peace.